There comes a moment in life when the noise becomes too loud. Not outside, inside. The mind keeps racing. The heart keeps carrying things it was never meant to hold for this long. And even while smiling in front of people, something deep inside quietly whispers, "I'm tired." Not just physically tired, soul tired. Maybe you know this feeling. You wake up exhausted even after sleeping. You scroll endlessly hoping to feel better. You replay old conversations in your head. You overthink small things at night. You carry invisible pressure that nobody sees. And slowly life begins to feel heavy. Heavy to think. Heavy to breathe. Heavy to continue. But according to Buddhist wisdom, this heaviness is not proof that you are broken. It is proof that your spirit has been trying to survive in a world that never taught you how to be still. Listen carefully. Most people spend their whole lives running. Running towards success. Running from pain. Running from loneliness. Running from silence. But the Buddha taught something radically different. He taught that peace does not come from escaping life. Peace comes from understanding it. And tonight, for the next few moments, you do not need to fix your entire life. You only need to breathe. Slowly, gently, like someone finally arriving home after being lost for years. Because this video is not here to motivate you with empty noise. It is here to help you remember something your soul may have forgotten. You were never meant to carry everything alone. Take a deep breath and let this moment become your pause from the world. Because sometimes, one peaceful moment can save a person from drowning inside themselves. The ancient Zen masters often said, you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes every day. Unless you are too busy, then you should sit for an hour. First, this sounds strange, but there is deep truth hidden inside those words. The busier the mind becomes, the more desperately it needs silence. Yet modern life trains us to fear silence. The moment silence appears, we grab our phones. We open another app. We distract ourselves again. Why? Because silence reveals what distraction tries to hide. Our sadness, our fear, our loneliness, our exhaustion. But Buddhism teaches that healing begins the moment we stop running from ourselves. Imagine holding a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water stays cloudy. But if you place it down gently, the mud slowly settles. The mind works the same way. Most people try to force peace, but peace cannot be forced. Peace appears naturally when we finally stop shaking the mind. And maybe that is why you found this video tonight. Not by accident, but because a quiet part of your spirit is searching for rest. The truth is, many people in this world are emotionally starving. Not for money, not for status, not even for success. They are starving for inner peace, a peaceful morning, a calm heart, a safe feeling inside themselves. And yet society rarely teaches us how to create these things. Instead, we are taught to constantly achieve more. More money, more productivity, more attention, more perfection. But no matter how much people gain externally, many still go to sleep feeling empty, because external success cannot heal internal chaos. The Buddha understood this over 2,500 years ago. He was born into luxury. He had comfort, wealth, and privilege. Yet he still felt suffering inside. And one day he realized something that changed human history forever. A peaceful mind is more valuable than a perfect life. Read that again carefully. A peaceful mind is more valuable than a perfect life. Because no human life will ever become perfect. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be change. There will always be endings. But when the mind becomes calm, life becomes lighter. Not because problems disappear, but because you stop carrying them in a destructive way. Right now, somewhere in America, someone is lying awake at 2 a.m. pretending to be okay. Someone is silently crying in a bathroom so their family will not hear. Someone is driving home exhausted from a job that drains their spirit. Someone is smiling online while feeling emotionally numb inside. And maybe that someone is you. So listen carefully. You do not need to become someone else to deserve peace. You do not need to earn rest. You do not need permission to slow down. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to heal slowly. You are allowed to stop punishing yourself for being human. In Zen Buddhism, there is a powerful understanding. The oak tree does not hate itself for growing slowly. The moon does not apologize for phases. Nature never rushes, yet everything is completed. So why do humans constantly attack themselves for not healing fast enough? Why do we expect the heart to recover instantly from years of pain? Healing is not a race. Meditation is not about becoming perfect. Peaceful living is not about escaping reality. It is about learning how to sit gently with reality, without destroying yourself in the process. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a quiet lake early in the morning. No noise, no pressure, no expectations, just stillness. That stillness already exists inside you, but the modern world has buried it beneath stress, fear, comparison, and endless stimulation. And every day, your nervous system carries more weight than it was designed to hold. Constant notifications, negative news, financial pressure, relationship stress, emotional exhaustion. The human mind was never built for endless chaos. That is why people feel emotionally disconnected, even while surrounded by others. The soul becomes tired from constant noise. This is why Buddhism places such importance on awareness. Not obsession, not overthinking. Awareness. There is a difference. Overthinking traps you inside thoughts. Awareness allows you to observe thoughts without drowning in them. This changes everything, because once you learn to observe your thoughts calmly, you stop believing every painful story the mind creates. You begin realizing, not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion deserves control over your life. Clouds pass through the sky. Thoughts pass through the mind. Neither defines who you truly are. And this realization becomes deeply healing, especially for people who have spent years battling anxiety, emotional heaviness, or inner pressure. One Zen teacher once said, "You are the sky. Everything else is just weather." What a beautiful truth. Sadness is weather. Stress is weather. Fear is weather. And just like storms, they pass. Even this difficult chapter of your life will pass. But while it passes, be gentle with yourself. Please. So many people speak to themselves with cruelty they would never use on another human being. I'm failing. I'm not enough. I'm too behind in life. I'll never change. But Buddhism teaches compassion not only toward others, but toward yourself. Self-compassion is not weakness. It is emotional wisdom, because healing grows faster in kindness than in shame. And maybe tonight, instead of attacking yourself for feeling overwhelmed, you can simply say, "This moment is hard, but I am still here." That sentence alone carries strength. Not loud strength, quiet strength. The kind of strength that survives storms without needing applause. And in many ways, quiet strength is the most powerful strength of all. Because calm people do not need to prove their worth constantly. They understand something deeply important. Inner peace is not found through control. It is found through surrender. Not surrendering your dreams. Not surrendering your future. Surrendering the exhausting need to control everything. Some things in life must unfold naturally. Love, healing, growth, peace. The tighter you force them, the heavier life becomes. But when you learn to breathe through uncertainty, life begins feeling softer again. And perhaps tonight, this is the beginning of that softness returning to you. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, like sunrise entering a dark room. There is something deeply heartbreaking about modern life. Millions of people are surrounded by technology, yet feel emotionally alone. They are connected to everyone, but disconnected from themselves. And because the world moves so fast, many people never stop long enough to notice what is happening inside their own hearts. They keep functioning, keep working, keep pretending, until one day the soul quietly whispers, "I cannot carry this weight anymore." But Buddhism teaches something powerful in moments like these. The mind becomes heavy when it tries to carry yesterday and tomorrow at the same time. Think about that carefully. Most suffering does not come from this exact moment. It comes from regret about the past, or fear about the future. The past says, "You should have done better." The future says, "What if everything goes wrong?" And trapped between those voices, the present moment disappears. But the present moment is where peace lives. Not yesterday, not next year. Here, now, this breath, this heartbeat, this quiet moment together. Zen monks understood this deeply. That is why many of them practiced ordinary activities with extraordinary awareness. Drinking tea, walking slowly, listening to rain, watching sunlight move across the floor. Not because their lives were empty, but because they understood something modern society forgot. A peaceful life is built from peaceful moments. Most people wait for huge life changes before allowing themselves to feel peace. I'll relax when I make more money. I'll be happy when my life is perfect. I'll rest after everything is fixed. But life never stops moving. There will always be another problem, another responsibility, another pressure waiting around the corner. So if peace depends on perfection, peace will never arrive. This is why Buddhism invites us to stop postponing our inner calm. Peace is not a reward for surviving stress. Peace is a way of surviving stress. And this changes the entire direction of a person's life. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones every single day. At first you barely notice the weight, but over time it exhausts you. Emotionally, this is what many people are doing. They carry old guilt, old heartbreak, old anger, old expectations, old versions of themselves, and eventually the emotional weight becomes unbearable. But here is the truth many people need to hear tonight. You do not need to carry every painful memory forever. Some things are meant to be released, not denied, not ignored, released. The Buddha once compared attachment to holding a burning coal. The longer you grip it, the more pain it creates. And yet many people continue gripping suffering because it feels familiar. Even painful identities can become comfortable. Some people become so attached to sadness, they forget who they are without it. Some become addicted to stress because stillness feels unfamiliar. Some constantly replay old wounds because the mind believes pain equals control. But healing begins the moment we gently loosen our grip. Not forcefully, gently, like unclenching a fist that has been tight for years. Tonight, maybe your soul does not need another lecture. Maybe it simply needs permission to rest, to stop fighting everything, to stop trying to solve your entire life before bedtime, to stop carrying emotional weight that was never fully yours. Take a slow breath. Notice your body. Notice how much tension you carry without realizing it. The shoulders, the jaw, the chest. Stress lives inside the body. That is why meditation is not only mental healing, it is physical healing too. When people meditate consistently, their breathing slows, their nervous system softens, their minds become clearer. But meditation is often misunderstood. Many people think meditation means stopping thoughts. That is impossible. The human mind produces thoughts naturally, just like the heart produces beats. Meditation is not about becoming thoughtless. It is about becoming less controlled by thoughts. There is freedom in that. Imagine sitting beside a river. The water keeps flowing. You do not jump into every wave. You simply watch. Thoughts can be observed the same way. A fearful thought appears. You notice it. A painful memory appears. You notice it. An anxious prediction appears. You notice it. But you do not become the thought. You allow it to pass. And over time, this practice creates emotional space inside the mind. That space becomes peace. One of the greatest causes of suffering today is overstimulation. People wake up and immediately consume noise. Phones, emails, social media, arguments, comparison, pressure. The nervous system never fully rests. Even at night, many minds remain loud. This is why sleep has become difficult for so many people. The body lies down, but the mind keeps running. Buddhist teachings encourage evening stillness for this reason. Not endless stimulation before sleep. Stillness, a calm cup of tea, soft breathing, quiet reflection, gratitude, meditation. These small rituals tell the nervous system, you are safe now. And safety is deeply important for emotional healing. Because many people are not truly resting. They are only distracting themselves until exhaustion forces sleep. Real rest is different. Real rest heals the spirit. Sometimes the most productive thing a human being can do is sit quietly and breathe. But modern culture often makes people feel guilty for slowing down. If you rest, you are lazy. If you pause, you are falling behind. So people continue sacrificing their peace in order to appear successful. But what is the point of success if your mind feels miserable every day? What is the point of achievement if you never feel emotionally alive? Zen philosophy teaches balance, not extreme productivity, not extreme laziness. Balance, a life where ambition exists, but does not destroy inner peace. A life where goals matter, but mental wellness matters too. A life where silence is not feared. There is wisdom in slowing down enough to hear your own thoughts clearly, because often beneath anxiety, there is sadness. Beneath anger, there is hurt. Beneath constant busyness, there is emotional exhaustion. And unless these inner wounds are acknowledged, they continue controlling life silently. This is why emotional healing requires honesty, not dramatic honesty toward the world. Quiet honesty toward yourself. Maybe you are more tired than you admit. Maybe you are lonelier than people realize. Maybe you have been strong for too long. That does not make you weak. It makes you human. Even monks experience suffering. Even wise teachers experience grief. Even peaceful people have difficult nights. Inner peace is not the absence of pain. It is the ability to meet pain without becoming consumed by it. That is true strength. And perhaps the strongest thing you can do tonight is stop pretending you are okay when you are not. Not everyone needs access to your struggles, but you deserve honesty with yourself. You deserve gentleness. You deserve moments where your nervous system is not trapped in survival mode. One Buddhist teaching says, nothing is permanent. First, this truth sounds sad, but it is actually deeply comforting, because if nothing is permanent, then pain is not permanent either. This anxiety will pass. This heartbreak will shift. This heavy season will eventually soften. Life moves in cycles. Night becomes morning. Winter becomes spring. And emotionally, humans move through seasons too. Some seasons are for growth. Some are for healing. Some are for resting. Do not judge yourself for being in a quieter season right now. Flowers do not bloom every month of the year. And humans are no different. Sometimes healing looks invisible from the outside. Sometimes growth happens silently. Sometimes the strongest progress is simply continuing, breathing, trying again, remaining gentle. And if nobody told you recently, I hope you understand this tonight. Your worth is not measured by productivity. You are valuable even when resting. You are valuable even when healing slowly. You are valuable even during difficult chapters of life. Because your value does not disappear during hard times. Clouds can hide the sun temporarily, but the sun never stops existing. And neither does your inner light. Right now, somewhere deep beneath the stress, fear, disappointment, and exhaustion, there is still a peaceful version of you waiting patiently to return. Not a perfect version, a peaceful version. The version of you that laughs naturally, sleeps peacefully, breathes deeply, lives slowly enough to notice beauty again. And no matter how lost life feels sometimes, that version of you is not gone forever. It is simply tired. Maybe tonight, instead of trying to become someone new, you simply need to return to yourself. Not the stress version created by pressure. Not the exhausted version shaped by survival mode. Not the anxious version constantly trying to please everyone. The real you, the quiet you, the peaceful you that existed before the world became so loud. Zen Buddhism teaches that clarity does not come from adding more noise to life. It comes from removing what no longer belongs. Too many thoughts, too many expectations, too much comparison, too much emotional clutter. And slowly, the soul becomes crowded. That is why minimalism became such an important part of Zen living. Not only physical minimalism, mental minimalism, emotional minimalism, learning to let go of unnecessary suffering. Because not every battle deserves your energy. Some arguments are not worth your peace. Some relationships are not worth destroying your mental health. Some expectations are too heavy for the human heart to carry forever. One of the greatest forms of wisdom is learning what to release. And one of the greatest forms of healing is understanding that peace is more valuable than proving yourself constantly. Many people spend their entire lives trying to be enough for everyone else. Enough for family, enough for society, enough for strangers online. But they never stop to ask, am I enough for myself? The Buddha taught that attachment to approval creates suffering, Because when happiness depends entirely on other people's validation, peace becomes impossible. Some people will misunderstand you. Some people will outgrow you. Some people will never fully see your heart. And that is okay. You do not need universal acceptance to live a meaningful life. You only need inner alignment, a calm conscience, a compassionate heart, a peaceful mind. That is enough. In many ways, modern anxiety comes from constantly performing happiness, performing success, performing perfection. But deep down, the soul becomes exhausted from pretending. Zen philosophy invites people back into authenticity, to breathe naturally again, to stop racing through life without actually experiencing it. Have you ever noticed how children experience simple moments? Watching rain, feeling sunlight, listening to birds. They are fully present. But adults often lose this ability. The mind becomes trapped in schedules, deadlines, worries, and mental noise. And eventually life starts feeling empty even when everything looks fine externally. This is why mindfulness is so powerful. Mindfulness returns life to the present moment. And the present moment is where beauty lives. Not inside endless overthinking. Right now, somewhere outside, the wind is moving through trees. Somewhere rain is falling softly against a window. Somewhere a tired person is hearing these words and finally feeling understood. Life still contains beauty, even during difficult seasons. Especially during difficult seasons. Because painful moments often awaken people spiritually. Suffering slows people down enough to ask deeper questions. What truly matters? What kind of life do I actually want? What brings real peace? And often the answers are surprisingly simple. Not more noise. Not more comparison. Not more pressure. Just presence. Connection. Stillness. Meaning. Love. Rest. Many Zen monks lived with almost nothing materially, yet carried immense peace internally. Meanwhile, many modern people have endless entertainment and convenience, yet feel emotionally restless every day. This proves something important. Peace is an inner condition, not an external achievement. And this understanding can completely transform a person's life. Because once you stop chasing peace outside yourself, you begin creating it within yourself. Through breath, through awareness, through compassion, through silence. There is a beautiful Buddhist saying, if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your own path. Kindness heals the giver too. This is why peaceful people often move gently through life. Not because life has been easy for them, but because suffering taught them the importance of softness. People who understand pain deeply often become the safest souls. And perhaps tonight, after everything life has put you through, you can choose softness instead of bitterness. Not weakness, softness. There is strength in remaining compassionate inside a hard world. There is strength in choosing calmness over chaos. There is strength in protecting your peace instead of constantly defending your ego. Because ego always wants to win, but peace simply wants freedom. And freedom begins when you stop fighting every moment of life. Some nights will still feel heavy. Some mornings will still feel difficult. Healing is not perfectly linear, but little by little, your spirit can become lighter again. One peaceful habit at a time. One deep breath at a time. One quiet evening at a time. Maybe tomorrow morning, instead of immediately reaching for stress, you sit quietly for 5 minutes. Maybe you drink water slowly. Maybe you watch the sunrise. Maybe you breathe before checking your phone. Small peaceful actions create powerful emotional changes over time. That is the Zen way. Simple, gentle, intentional. The world often glorifies intensity, but Buddhism reminds us that calmness is powerful too. A calm mind makes better decisions. A calm heart creates healthier relationships. A calm spirit experiences life more deeply. So please, do not underestimate the value of slowing down. Sometimes slowing down is exactly what saves a human being emotionally. And if you feel emotionally exhausted lately, this may be your sign to rest without guilt. Not forever, just long enough to hear yourself again. Long enough to reconnect with your own spirit. Long enough to remember that your life is more than stress and survival. You deserve moments that feel peaceful. You deserve sleep that feels healing. You deserve mornings that do not begin with panic. You deserve a life that feels emotionally sustainable. And although the world may continue moving fast, you do not have to move at the speed of chaos. You are allowed to live differently. You are allowed to protect your inner peace. You are allowed to create a softer life. Before this video ends, take one more slow breath. Inhale gently, exhale slowly. Notice that you survived today. Notice that despite everything, your heart is still beating. There is still hope inside you, even if it feels small right now. And sometimes, small hope is enough to begin again. The Buddha once taught, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Maybe those words found you at exactly the right moment. Because the peace you have been searching for may not be somewhere far away. It may begin quietly inside this very moment. Right here, right now. Thank you for spending this peaceful time with me. If this video brought calmness to your heart, helped you breathe easier, or made you feel less alone, please support the channel by liking this video and subscribing to Soft Zen Mind. And remember, no matter how heavy life feels sometimes, your soul still deserves peace. Sleep peacefully, breathe deeply, and take care of your heart.